Hello, my name is Claire and I teach in the James Cook University Conflict Management and Resolution program. We offer a full 16-unit Master of Conflict Management and Resolution, we call it the MCMR, a combined MBA, MCMR Masters, and a Graduate Certificate of Conflict Management and Resolution. For the purposes of this subject, I will develop a web quest for a topic within the subject LB 5531, Research and Writing in Conflict Management and Resolution. Students who come to study conflict management and resolution may come from a suite of undergraduate degrees and have varied work experience. It really is a multidisciplinary field. By accessing Cognos data, which is the JCU Business Intelligence and Management software, I know that students studying in my subject come from these overarching degrees. I am also aware of the age of my students, with the majority being over 35 years of age and a large portion being over 40 years of age. This year, the male-female ratio of students is fairly even. Over our course for the last 6 years, enrolments have been fairly consistently 60-40 split, female to male. I also have access to data that lets me know the country of origin of students in my subject. I can see that this year I have students from Australia, as well as Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, and Papua New Guinea. By analysing this data, I am able to draw some conclusions around digital literacy, English proficiency, and student needs. I really enjoyed learning more about design thinking, and I think it's a great process to work through. I also find it extremely useful for myself to map out a project. In the first step, the empathise mode, I really looked at this particular cohort of students and tried to identify their particular needs. I looked at student evaluations for the subject, also reflected journals that previous students have written, and then the knowledge of the demographic and student data, and really thought that this cohort are particularly time poor. A lot of people do it because they want to upskill. Students are studying online and so are particularly motivated to learn by doing. They're also motivated by their grades for this subject. So in the define mode, I'm now thinking, how might I create this web quest in which students are engaged, they are excited and inspired, they can learn by doing, using real-world examples, something that's relevant to their context and also achievable within a time frame. Recognising what I have learned about the users, I now have to consider how this also fits in with our course learning outcome expectations. After completing this subject, students are expected to be able to synthesise complex information, exercise independent judgment, provide evidence-based advice to clients and industry, and effectively communicate with people in conflict. A design challenge will be to address users' concerns that when they do commence further postgraduate study, either due to time out from university, advances in technology, or their varied undergraduate experiences, they often feel that they lack basic skills or the confidence in their ability to write essays and assessment tasks and are unsure where to look for quality information. The overarching purpose of this web quest will therefore be to develop students' critical thinking, analytical skills, ability to locate resources and evaluate them. This web quest will also meet the needs of this particular user group if the problem is clearly defined, it's a time-efficient activity, there is a clear connection for students to future tasks they will need to complete. It empowers students by building their confidence in their abilities and their knowledge base, and hopefully inspires them to further study around the area. There are some great resources online about designing and creating your web quest, including Bernie Dodge's Taskonomy and Tom March's Pre-Writing Your Web Quest Guide. The working title is Research and Writing, which ties in with the name of the subject. The content area is developing study and also research skills. The specific topic is locating and evaluating resources. The web quest question will be, what is the value of different resources to a conflict resolution practitioner? The type of cognition being used includes analytical and judgment. And the possible tasks may include a discussion post, an evaluation table, and a reflection on task. I've chosen to develop a web quest for the topic Finding and Evaluating Resources. This subject is run in Semester 1 and again in Semester 2. It is run over the full 13-week semester, and I have designed the topics to be broken into fortnightly lessons. The module Finding and Evaluating Resources covers 2 weeks of materials. The subject is designed to scaffold student learning, so each module students should develop skills that they can utilise and build upon in later lessons. The task will require students to locate 2 different pieces of writing after reviewing information on online searching, for example, around different search engines, Boolean terms, etc. They will then review the resource, taking into account a number of factors, including the kind of resource, the author, the intended audience, the key points that are being made, and the quality of the writing. Finally, the students will compare the 2 resources and consider how useful it is for its intended purpose. The context is that the students are conflict resolution practitioners, and they are going to be required to present at a board meeting a summary of what they have found and how they have found those resources. To allow the students choice and to give them the option to select something that is of their own particular interest, I'll have a range of topics that the students can bid for. The types of things that they could research would include politics and conflict management, ethics in mediation, cultural differences in mediation, conflict resolution in schools, conflict management in the building and construction industry, safety and workplace conflict, mediation in government departments, or challenges in environmental disputes. This process requires higher order thinking as students need to evaluate and analyse, make judgments, and it's also preparing them to work in real-world contexts. The resources used will include information currently found in the subject materials, such as around the purpose of researching and how to evaluate writing. There'll also be links to relevant websites and YouTube clips on those topics. Also, information on locating resources and using online databases, and some external links to go to those databases and information about the best way to search using those. I'll also include some example structures for students to record their searching process, as well as examples of the boardroom summary document. Students will be required to submit a reflection on their searching process, as well as the summary document that they would present at the board meeting, outlining their conclusions and synthesising the 2 resources. In order to meet my needs as a super user and as an educator, I will evaluate the students on a rubric. I'll review the current rubric that I have for this task and put in specific exemplars that relate to this new process. I will also consider what resources I could include in a page for educators, so that if I was to link this through our conflict management and resolution LibGuide, other lecturers could use it and have different topics that their students could bid on, and it could be more relevant to their own contexts. So I've already created a Google site using the acronym for our masters and the subject code. I'm looking forward to learning more about ICTs and actually designing my web quest. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.